All right. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat
Shabbat shalom. We are back. Continuing with our look at the triennial Torah portion. This week we are in Devarim, chapter 3, Deuteronomy, chapter 3, and we will be talking about this Torah portion which is entitled And I Besought. And I Besought. We're going to really kind of look at Deuteronomy chapter 3 and kind of deal with it as a kind of a springboard into some other places in Scripture, but kind of using Deuteronomy chapter 3 as our foundation for the concepts that we find inside of this chapter. We are still dealing with Moshe and his kind of opening statements that he's given to the people, and it is really an overview of what has happened up until this point where they are in the journey. So we want to go ahead and continue and look at where we are and notice a few important things here. We'll go ahead and read through the whole chapter, and then we'll, as always, go back and deal with the important, well, I don't want to say important like this, unimportant parts, but we'll deal with the significant parts of the day. So, let me go ahead and pull up for us on the screen here. Deuteronomy chapter 3. Let's see here. Go ahead and read that for us nice and loud.
And it says, Then we turned and went up the way to Bashan, and Og, sovereign of Bashan, came out against us, he and all his people, to battle at Edrei. And Yahweh said to me, Do not fear him, for I have given him and all his people and his land into your hand. And you shall do to him as you did to Sihon, sovereign of the Amorites, who dwelt in Heshbon. So Yahweh our Elohim also gave into our hands Og, sovereign of Bashan, with all his people, and we struck him until he had no survivors remaining. And we captured all his cities at that time. There was not a city which we did not take from them. 60 cities, all the district of Argob, the reign of Og in Bashan. All these cities were fenced with high walls, gates, and bars, besides a great many unwalled towns. And we put them under the ban, as we did to Sihon, sovereign of Heshbon, putting the men, the women, and the children of city under the ban. But all the livestock and the spoil of the cities we took as booty for ourselves. And at that time we took the land from the hand of the two sovereigns of the Amorites that was beyond the Jordan, from the Wadi Arnon to Mount Hermon. Sidonians call Hermon Sirion, and the Amorites call it Senir. All the cities of the plain, all Gilead, and all Bashan, as far as Salcah and Edrei, cities of the reign of Og and Bashan. For only Og, sovereign of Bashan, was left of the remnant of the Rephaites. See, his bedsteed was an iron bedsteed, as it not in Rabbah of the children of Ammon. 9 cubits is its length, and 4 cubits its width, according to the cubit of a man. And this land which we possessed at that time from Aroer, which is by the Wadi Arnon, and half the mountains of Gilead and its cities, I gave to the Reubenites and the Gadites. And the rest of Gilead and all Bashan, the reign of Og, I gave half to the tribe of Manasseh. All the district of Argob, with all Bashan, called the land of Rephaites. Yair, son of Manasseh, had taken all the district of Argob as far as the border of Geshurites and the Maccathites, and called them after his own name, the Bashan of Hawoth Yair, to this day. And to Machir I gave Gilead, and to the Reubenites and the Gadites I gave from Gilead as far as the Wadi Arnon, in the middle of the wadi, as the border, as far as the Wadi Yabok, the border of the children of Ammon, and the desert plain with the Yarden as the border from Kinnereth as far as the sea of Arabah, and the salt sea below the slopes of Pisgah on the east. And I commanded you at that time, saying, Yahweh your Elohim has given you this land to possess. All your sons of might pass over armed before your brothers, the children of Israel. But let your wives and your little ones and your livestock, I know that you have much livestock, stay in your cities, which I have given you, until Yahweh has given rest to your brothers as to you, and they also possess the land which Yahweh your Elohim is giving them beyond the Yarden. Then you shall return each man to his possession which I have given you. And I commanded Yehoshua at that time, saying, Your eyes have seen all that Yahweh your Elohim has done to these 2 sovereigns. Yahweh does the same to all the reigns which you are passing over. Do not fear them, for Yahweh your Elohim himself fights for you. And I pleaded with Yahweh at that time, saying, O Master Yahweh, you have begun your show, you have begun to show your servant your greatness and your strong hand. For who is a mighty one in the heavens or on earth, who does according to your works and according to your might? I pray, let me pass over and see the good land beyond the Yarden, this good hill country and Lebanon. But Yahweh was enraged with me for your sake and would not listen to me. And Yahweh said to me, Enough of that. Speak no more to me about this matter. Go up to the top of Pisgah and lift up your eyes westward and northward and southward and eastward. And look with your eyes, for you do not pass over this Yarden. But command Yehoshua and strengthen him and make him brave, for he shall pass over before this people and cause them to inherit the land which you see. And we dwelt in the valley opposite of Beth Peor.
Okay, very good. All right, so we want to look at a few things over here. I think that it's important when we think about these 2 verses here, when we think about the things that have gone on kind of at the beginning of the chapter, where it says over here, your eyes have seen all that Yahweh your Elohim has done to these 2 sovereigns, these two kings, right? All that they have seen the Most High do to these 2 kings.
Mm-hmm.
It says, it continues, Yahweh does the same to all the reigns which you are passing over. So the great feat that the people witness the Most High do to these two kings, they were supposed to look at that and understand the enormity of what they had done, to know that he was going to be able to dispossess and extinguish, I should say, the rest of these peoples the same way.
Mm-hmm.
And so I wanted to kind of, when we look at this, we hear all of these things and these places that, that they had went through in these cities. And I believe that the text, they tried to help us when we look over here. If we go back up to the top, where it talks about the fact that this King Og, right? This King Og of Bashan and his people, they slaughtered. They had all of these cities, these 60 cities and these districts. Verse 5 says that all these cities were fenced with walls and gates and bars. And besides that, they had a great many unwalled towns. So they had a whole bunch of just regular towns, and then they had all of these fortified towns. Now, when we sit up here and we watch these different movies about these all of these big fighting, medieval fighting things that happen, the places that are the walled places, they got the big walls and the towers and all of this stuff, they always have the advantage. And then the way that the people somehow overtake anyway is that they have a whole bunch of people. Like, the numbers make it impossible for these people to defend.
They can't kill them.
Yeah. Even though they have the advantage of height and all of that, and walls and gates and bars, all of these things, right? But the difference is, with Israel didn't have a whole bunch of people. No, it wasn't that they was this big, strong, mighty people.
Just mediocre.
I guess. I mean, I don't want to say that they was mediocre, but I would think that they probably, in all actuality, were that. And so, the way that you would think that they would or should have been able to overtake these places, they didn't have, logistically speaking, they didn't have what it took in order to do it. And so we're able to understand, and the Most High, he tells us, again, like I said, down there in verse 21 and 22, that he is the one that did the work. He'll fight for you. Don't fear none of these people in the future. Mm-hmm. And so I wanted to look at some of these places. You're able to see some of these places on a map. We got a couple maps over here. Let me see if I can pull up the right ones here. If we can see. Okay, this one's a good one here. When we look and we can see that Bashan is this up here, and of course this is Israel over here, right? But at this point in the game, it's not hasn't been taken yet, right? And so, if we remember, Edom is down here, right? Moab is down here. Ammon is up here. This place here, Bashan, is kind of this big old spot up here. And so this is a pretty big, it's basically takes up like half, it's like half the size of what Israel would end up being, right? And again, it's this place that is fortified with high walls and gates and bars, right? There's many unwalled cities, but you would think that the unwalled cities would be these interior areas.
Yeah.
Right? And so, let's see here. I have this other one here. Oh, this one here. So it talks about this place here. There's all of this brownish area here where it gives you the arrow. Because the scripture tells us from this Arnon River Valley, this area here, all the way up to Mount Hermon. It says over there in verse number 8. Let's see here, verse 8. And at the time they took the land from the hand of the 2 kings of the Amorites, from the Wadi Arnon, which is the valley Arnon, to the Mount Hermon. And so again, that's hold on a second. That's all of this, right? That's all this section here. And so, yeah, you got to look on the. That's a huge section there, right? And so again, these were fortified, walled, gated with bars cities, right? And so again, the Most High is helping us to understand that his power and his might is the thing that's moving this whole thing forward. And so there's nothing for the people to fear. There's no reason for the people to be able to be fearful in this journey that could seem unwinnable, because it's not based on the strength and the might and the abilities of the people anyway. It's based on what it is that the Most High is doing for the people, and he is the one that's doing the work of dispossessing these people. Mm-hmm. And so, having that in mind should be a thing that increases the faith of the people and increases the resolve of the people, and cause this group of people to be able to move and move forward in faith. Mm-hmm. And so, for the time being, at least, we're able to see that, Israel has a reason to be, to walk forward in, this victory, because understanding, they're able to look and see, we're this small nation, right? But we have the Elohim of Elohim on our side, who goes, and it says that they utterly destroyed every city. the men, women, and children of every city, right? And they had all kinds of cities, right? Okay, so let's keep on going here. Let's drop down to, hold on one second here. Let's drop down to verse 11. Verse 11 gives us this interesting tidbit because, again, we're dealing with, so it tells us the landmark so we know how big that the land is, right? But also it's doing this other thing when it gets to verse 11 and it talks about this this sovereign himself, for only Og, sovereign of Bashan, was left of the remnant of the Rephaites, which were these giants, right? These huge people, right? And so not necessarily that the people that dwelled in Bashan was all of these people, but this particular king was he belonged to these people. And so it talks about this bedstead here. This bedstead, which was either a literal bed, because if we look over here, let's see here. If we look at this word here from verse here, let me highlight this 11. Unused root, meaning perhaps to arch a couch properly with a canopy, bed, stead, or couch, right? And so it's this unused root where it says perhaps to arch, right? They're kind of there's a bit of unsurety as to what this actually is. Some people just say that it was a bed. Other people speak of it as being the bed for the dead, which is a coffin, right? The place where you would lay and sleep with the fathers, right? And so either way, whether it had been a coffin or whether it had been the people who say that it was a coffin talk about the fact that the people that were there at some point in their history had conquered these people and had this coffin as like a trophy, right? That was one thought that some of these historians had. But another thing, just to say that this was the actual bed that belonged to this individual. When we think about a bed, a king size bed is probably half of what this person's bed was. It says that it was 9 cubits in length, which is about 13 and a half feet, right? So if you was to think about, it's 9 cubits in length and 4 cubits in width. So it was like 13 and a half feet long and 6 foot wide.
Oh my gosh.
Right? And so if you think about like a king size bed, it was probably 2 king size beds, not side by side, but head over foot, like long ways. If they laid it out long ways,
wow,
2 king size beds, right? which is pretty big, right? And you think about a bed, it may be a foot or so longer than what you are, so that you're able to lay on it and your feet don't hang off, right? So they suppose that this person was like potentially between like 8 or 11 feet tall. This Og, this ruler of this place, right? And so again, I feel like inspiration is giving us all this information just to kind of let us understand the enormity of the thing that the Most High did for the people. He went in there and strengthened the people in such a way that it caused them to be able to overthrow these great and mighty peoples that was mightier than themselves, right? And this is the whole reason that we even see this over here. They're giving us these details, and again, this is Moses giving the people, reiterating the story back to the people who was there, so that they are able to move forward and go and possess the land. Right? He's giving the people these words of encouragement so that they're able to move forward. They destroyed this big old huge fortified place that had this big old huge king who had this big old huge bed that he had to sleep on, that they took out of there, when they went and they took and they possessed the land. And so when we look at this, it helps us to understand the fact that, we as Israel are going to face these seemingly unwinnable battles, right? These seemingly unwinnable feats and battles. But when we're able to look to the place from which comes our help, we're able to go and fight and conquer whatever is put in our paths. Let's look over at Isaiah. Look at Isaiah chapter 14. Read for us. Start reading at verse 24 through 27.
Yahweh of hosts has sworn, saying, truly as I have planned, so shall it be. And as I have proposed, so it stands. To break Asher in my land, and tread him down on my mountains. And his yoke shall be removed from them, and his burden removed from their shoulders. This is the counsel that is counseled for all the earth, and this is the hand that is stretched out over all the nations. For Yahweh of hosts has counseled, and who annuls it? And his hand that is stretched out, who turns it back?
Yes, very good. The verse says in the King James, for Yahweh of hosts has purposed, and who shall disannul it?
Disannul it.
Who's able to disannul that which the Most High has purposed? And his hand is stretched out. Who's able to put his hand back? The Most High putting his hand out. Ain't nobody pushing his hand up out the way. Right? And so when we see, because he is Yahweh of hosts, right? Yahweh of hosts. Sebaot. Yahweh Tsebaot. Let's look at that. Let me make this bigger here. Let's look at this word Tsebaot. If we looked at, let's highlight this one here. Yahweh of hosts. Sabah, Seba'ah. A mass of persons, right? For war and army, hardship, warship, army battle, company hosts. The root of this here will be this word here, Sabah, which again is just a mass, assembly, fight, perform, muster. And so again, when we think about these, this small group of people against these huge, large nations, the Most High provides the mass of the people to overcome these great nations.
Yeah.
Right? And so when we look over here and we see that these people, again, these great and mighty people that the Most High delivers to his people, they're able to deliver because of the fact that Yahweh, as it says, is Yahweh of hosts, right? He has the things that he has purposed, nobody's able to undo it, right? He is, the Most High is in fact the original God of war, right? And so when we look that Sabaoth, the Septuagint sometimes translates it as Yahweh of powers or Yahweh Almighty, right? It always speaks to the strength. It always speaks to the strength of the Most High, the power and the might of the Most High, and what it is that he's able to do for the people, right? Let's keep on going. Let's look over. Well, first let's look at this. Let's look at this Sabaoth, which really is the plural form of Sabah. Let's see here. Oh, here we go. Sabah, which is the tzadi, right? It's the tzadi and the bait and the aleph.
Yep.
Right? The tzadi, bait, aleph. And so the tzadi is a man on his side. But it's the man on his side that's hunting, right? He's in the prone position, right? He's laid down in the prone position, aiming for the hunt, right? And so we have that, and we have the tent blueprint, the house, the tent plan for the house, right? So we could think about the house of the man that's a hunter, right? And the aleph, which is the leader or the strength or strong, right? So we have the strong house of the it could be the strong house of the warrior, right? Of the one who's ready for war. right? Sava. And so when we look at this, again, Yahweh of hosts, he's ready and willing and able to fight the battles of his people.
Yep.
And so when we think about, again, the idea of moving as the Most High wants for us to be moving, this should actually help us, as we move forward, because of the fact that, we serve the actual Most High.
Yep.
He's the Most High, right? There's high, and then there's the Most High. Okay? And our Most High is Yahweh of hosts. Let's look over at Zechariah 8. Read for us 1 through 8.
And the word of Yahweh of hosts came, saying, Thus said Yahweh of hosts, I shall be jealous for Zion with great jealousy, and with great wrath I shall be jealous for her. Thus said Yahweh, I shall return to Zion, and I shall dwell in the midst of Jerusalem. And Jerusalem shall be called City of Truth, and the mountain of Yahweh of hosts, the set apart mountain. Thus said Yahweh of hosts, again old men and old women shall dwell in the streets of Jerusalem, each one with his staff in his hand because of great age. And the streets of the city shall be filled with boys and girls playing in the streets. Thus said Yahweh of hosts, if it is marvelous in the eyes of the remnant of his people in these days, should it also be marvelous in my eyes? Declares Yahweh of hosts. Thus said Yahweh of hosts, see, I am saving my people from the land of the sunrise and from the land of the sunset. And I shall bring them back, and they shall dwell in the midst of Jerusalem, and they shall be my people, and I shall be their Elohim. Their Elohim in truth and in righteousness.
Okay, so it's interesting when we see over here again this thing that the Most High is doing in terms of showing his might, showing the fact that he is Yahweh of hosts, and then in doing so returning to the place of promise. Mm-hmm. And part of the thing that he's doing, again, in terms of showing his might, is restoring back the people to this place where he had promised for us to actually be. And so when we look back at Deuteronomy and see where this initial kind of takeover is taking place of the land, where it's beginning to show for us, this idea of this promised land, this place where the Most High has for his people to be, and where we be there, and he is there with us, and he's our Elohim, and we're his people, and this is our land that he's given to us, that he promised for us, that he purposed for his people, and that nobody is able to disannul. And so I wanted to pay attention over here too, because again, we look over in Deuteronomy, what's happening in Deuteronomy chapter 3 is the people moving over into the land. Right, and so this is part of the fulfilling of the Abrahamic covenant, which is going into this land that is promised to the children of Abraham. But if we go back up here to verse number 3, he calls this place the city of truth. Right, Jerusalem. He's calling the city of truth. And then in verse 8, he says, I shall be their Elohim in truth, and in righteousness. And so when we look over here, let's look at this. These are things that we've seen, but we need to re-see, I think, just so that we can have these things fresh. He said, I will be the Elohim in, hold on. In truth. Right? Which is emet. Right? Stability, certainty, truth, truthfulness, assuredly, establishment, faithful, right? Sure, true, verily. Right? Emet, truth. When we think about truth, again, we're talking about the city of truth, this place in which the Most High, he's calling Jerusalem, he's calling the city of truth, this Emet. It caused me to think about Revelation. Because if we look at here, let's go over to Revelation real quick. Revelation 1. Read verse 8.
I am the Aleph and the Tah, beginning and the end, says Yahweh, who is and who was and who is to come, the Almighty.
Okay, very good. We see over here where it says, I am the Aleph and the Tav, right? The beginning and the end. If we look at Emet, let's look at it. If we look at Emet, which is a Aleph, a Mem, and a Tav, we see here the Aleph and the Tav, right? We see the Aleph and the Tav there in Amet. So we have this, it's interesting that we have the Aleph and the Tav here. We have, and again, we think about this from a, looking at the pictographs, we see the ox's head, which is strength. So we have the idea of strength. But added to that, when we think about truth in the Aleph and Tav, we have the idea of water, right? We have the idea of blood, right? And the Tav is the mark, so it's the sign. So it's, kind of puts all of these things together. Yeah. But when we think about Yeshua, right? When we think about Yeshua, he said that he, if we look in Book of John, helps us the whole way over here. If we go over to John 14:6, what's that say?
Yeshua said to him, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me.
Yeshua is the truth. He is Emet. Right? He is Emet. He is the truth. What's 8 and 30? What's 8 and 32 say?
It says, and you shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free.
Right. When we know the truth, we already know that Yeshua is the truth. The truth will set you free. Well, Yeshua will set you free, right? The one that's in the middle of the Aleph and the Tav, right? What does it say in John 4? John 4:34. 13 and 14.
Say, Yeshua answered and said to her, everyone drinking of this water shall thirst again. But whoever drinks of the water I shall give him shall certainly never thirst. And the water that I give him shall become in him a fountain of water, springing up into everlasting life.
So Yeshua is giving this water, right? He's giving this water that gives everlasting life. So he's truth and he gives water. He's truth and he gives water. What's 7 and 38 say?
Says, as the scripture said, out of his innermost shall flow rivers of living water.
Just 337 and 38.
It says, and on the last day, the great day of the festival, Yeshua stood and cried out, saying, if anyone thirsts, let him come to me, and let him who believes in me drink. As the scripture said, out of his innermost shall flow rivers of living water.
Okay, right. So again, thinking about the fact that Yeshua actually being the olive tav, right? And we think about this city that is the city of truth, or emet, and emet is olive and tav with the mem in the middle, which is the water, right? Yeshua being the truth and the water, right? When we think about this city of truth, and with this Elohim that will be our Elohim in truth and in righteousness, right? It helps us to understand that the Most High, through his son Yeshua, is helping for us to be not only the people that he called for us to be, but taking us to the place where he has for us to be going. And again, even though it seems like it's this thing that is this undoable task, he said, because of the things that you've seen me do, because of the things that you've already seen me do, you should know that I'm able to do, what I'm saying that I'm going to do. Okay, let's go back here real fast before we go back, because again, he said that he will be an Elohim in truth and righteousness, right? Righteousness, tzedakah, which is rightness, rectitude, virtue, justice, righteous, rightness, all these things. Let's look at let's see, where is it? Oh, here we go. What does verse 8 say right there?
For the rest, brothers, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is righteous, whatever is clean, whatever is lovely, whatever is of good report, if there is any uprightness and if there is any praise, think on these.
When we think about things that are true and noble and righteous and clean and lovely and of a good report and righteousness, and things upon which deserve our praise, we think about the Most High. We think about his character. We think about his Ruach HaKodesh, which gives us the ability to actually think about or on these things, right? And so, again, when we think about the fact that the Most High, in his divine order and purpose, is empowering his people. He empowers his people with the intent on bringing us all to the place that he promised for his people. And again, we think about this place back in Zechariah, this place where old men and old women, they just walk around in the streets, right, with their staffs. They got their little staffs. They just walking around, and everything is good, right? Kids are just running around, little boys and girls just running around, just enjoying themselves, right? Because they're in a place of peace. It's the city of truth, the place where the representation of water dwells in the midst. When you think about Revelation, it talks about that tree, that there's a tree on both sides of the river, right? Or you can think about a tree that has water flowing through out of the midst of the river, right? This is all things that cause us to think about Yeshua in the midst of us, providing us with the sustaining things, which one of the most sustaining things is water and life, sustaining us in this place that he's taking us to, this land that he's given to us to possess.
Yeah.
All right, so let's go back over to Deuteronomy. What do we have over here? I wasn't seeing what's going on over here. Let's see here. The mem is the middle letter of the Hebrew alphabet. Yes, it's the middle letter of the whole alphabet, right? And so in the middle of the aleph and the tav, literally, you have the mem, right? And so again, we think about amet, the word amet. It's really giving you everything, right? Everything is comprised in the beginning and the middle and the end.
Yeah.
Right? You got everything there. I got the end, I got the middle, and I got the end. Right? And again, when we think about the fact that this is Yeshua, it's a picture of Yeshua for us. He is the... what do it say over here? Let me pull that up. Yeshua literally is the beginning and the middle and the end. Wait, I think it's... I need to see. Sometimes you just got to see the King James. Read Hebrews 12 and 2 down here.
It says, looking unto Yeshua, the author and the finisher of our faith, who for the joy that was set before him endured the cross, despising the shame, and is set down at the right hand of the throne of Yah.
Yes, very good. He's the author and the finisher of the faith, right? He's the beginning of it, and he's the end of it, of our faith, right? That's what Yeshua is for us. Okay? All right, let's go back over to Deuteronomy, because we're talking about, we're talking about the fact that, Moshe encouraging the people, showing them, yes, this is this impossible thing that stands before you, but despite the fact that you have this huge task in front of you, look at the fact that the Most High has conquered this battle for you, and remember that going forward, and don't fear. Don't fear, because you're able to see that I am able to fight for the people. Right? So if we go down, let's go down to verse 18, or read 18 again for us.
And I commanded you at that time, saying, Yahweh Elohim has given you this land to possess, all you sons of might. Pass over armed before your brothers, the children of Israel.
Okay, very good. So, again, when we think about this land that the Most High is given over for his people to possess, possessing the land of promise points us to the total fulfillment of the new covenant.
Yep.
Because when we think about, because we look at it in time here, if we go, just up to, beyond the Torah, where Israel, they go into the land, and then, things happen where they, the land gets divided, the different captivities happen, and all of these things, where, we're still looking to possess the land. And so when we think about the total fulfillment of possessing the land of promise, we see that in the new covenant, right? And so let's look over here, because when we think about what it is that the Torah, even though we're able to look at it and understand that here, this is a narrative, right? This is a historic narrative that Moses is telling. But we're also able to look at it from a prophetic standpoint and understand that when we see the fullness of what the Most High wants to do for his people in terms of putting us in a place that he's promised for us, and for us to live in peace, that is fulfilled through what he does for us in the new covenant, right? Mm-hmm. And so let's look over at read for us. Start reading at verse 27.
Elohim, O Yahweh Elohim, thou hast dealt with us after all thy goodness, and according to all that great mercy of thine, as thou spakest by the servant of Moses in the day when thou didst command him to write the law before the children of Israel, saying, If ye will not hear my voice, surely this great multitude shall be turned into a small number among the nations, or I will scatter them. For I knew that they would not hear me, because it is a stiff-necked people. But in the land of their captivities they shall remember themselves, and they shall know that I am Yahweh their Elohim. For I will give them an heart and ears to hear, and they shall praise me in the land of their captivity, and think upon my name, and return from their stiff neck and from their wicked deeds. For they shall remember the ways of their fathers, which sinned before Elohim. And I will bring them again into the land which I promised with an oath unto their fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And they shall be Elohim, and they shall be Elohims of it. And I will increase them, and they shall not be diminished. And I will make an everlasting covenant with them to be their Elohim, and they shall be my people, and I will no more drive my people of Israel out of the land that I have given them.
Okay, very good. So when we look over here and see what we see with these prophetic utterances, we see these prophetic utterances that's given over here in Baruch chapter 2, and the thing that we see happening is the bringing of the people into the land, right? Bringing the people into the land, the total manifestation of the promise that was given to Abraham was to give his people this particular land.
Yeah.
Right? And so to see the people go into the land, but then, because of our disobedience, be removed from the land, and understanding that just because of the fact that we was removed, it doesn't change the fact that the Most High had a purpose, and who's able to disannul it?
Yeah.
The Most High had a purpose, and we not able to even disannul it. Because who's able? Right? He said, who's able? He asked the question. But it's rhetorical. Nobody's able to disannul it. So the Most High is able to make and provide a way for us to fulfill the thing that he's done for us, which is give us this place to dwell and live in safety.
Yep.
Right? And so when we look over here again, looking back at Deuteronomy chapter 3, it points us to the fact that the Most High is giving us over into this land to possess it. And then we look over again at Baruch chapter 2, we see that this is another scripture, among many that show kind of the arc of the people in terms of him giving us the land, removing us from the land, scattering us throughout the four corners, but then making a way to bring us back to the land and making this everlasting covenant with us.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's go back over to Deuteronomy, because it's interesting that we see over here in Deuteronomy 3, starting with the 23rd verse, the place where we think about the name of the Torah portion, and I besought. If we go over to chapter 3, down to chapter 3, 23, we see where Moses is begging, he's beseeching. What's this word here in the Vayet Hanan? And I besought Vayet Hanan. So Hanan, let's see what this is here. Hanan, to bend or stoop in kindness to an inferior. Behavior, bestow, implore, right? Moshe begs to the Father, please, Father, please, let me. You've done all of this stuff. In Moses, he's piling it all on too, right? Thou hast begun to show thy servant thy greatness and thy strong hand. For what God is there in heaven and earth who can do such mighty acts as thine? Nobody can do what you do. Please, just let me go over there and see the good land that is beyond Jordan, that goodly mountain and Lebanon. Right? He's begging, please, Father, please. The Most High says, nah. I've pronounced my judgment, and what I said is going to happen. That's all that there is. Yeah. And so when we look over here, we get when we think about this, from a physical standpoint, it points towards the idea of final judgment, where he said what he said, and it's going to be what it's going to be. There's no chances for a turnaround, right? Everything that you've done it, and then now it becomes time to have to pay for it, right? And so we can see a picture of the final judgment even right over here from a physical standpoint, because again, when we think about Moshe, I mean, we have the thing that happens with Yeshua and the disciples in the transfiguration. Moshe is indeed in the heavenlies, right? When Yeshua looks into the spirit realm, he sees Moshe there, right? He sees Moses there, right? But from a physical standpoint, we're able to understand this idea of, this final judgment where the things that Moses has done in this earth, he's made accountable for these things, and there's no revoking of these things. Let's go over to what's it say over in Revelation 22. Start reading at verse number 10.
And he saith unto me, seal not the sayings.
Hold on. Okay, good.
And he saith unto me, seal not the sayings of the prophecy of this book, for the time is at hand. He that is unjust, let him be unjust still. And he which is filthy, let him be filthy still. And he that is righteous, let him be righteous still. And he that is holy, let him be holy still. And behold, I come quickly, and my reward is with me, to give every man according as his work shall be. I am Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end, the first and the last. Blessed are they that do his commandments, that they may have right to the tree of life, and may enter in through the gates into the city. For without are dogs and sorcerers and whoremongers and murderers and adulterers and whosoever loveth and maketh a lie.
Okay, very good. So we see there is a time where those that are fit into this category, dogs, sorcerers, whoremongers, murderers, idolaters, whosoever loves and makes a lie, these evil doers, there's a time where these people are going to be on the outside. And there's not going to be an opportunity for them to be on the inside.
Yep.
And so, again, this for us, again, thinking about what we see over in Deuteronomy, we see a type. We see a type of final judgment from Moses. Most High, he's like, stop this. It's over, right? I said what I said. You can't get in, right?
Yeah.
And so it's interesting that we see over there that, again, this whole thing pictures for us, it points for us towards the final fulfillment of all that the Most High has called for his people, which is bringing his people into this land, and we see over here there's other people who don't get into the land.
Yep.
Right. So again, verse 11 is the key verse over here, and we see the ones who are unjust, there's not going to be an opportunity for you to be anything other than that. Just let you be unjust still. Right. And the same with the filthy. And the same with the righteous, right? There's not going to be opportunity for you to be anything other than righteous or holy. Yep. At that time. There's going to be a time, right, where every man is judged according to the work that they have done, and once that judgment comes down, that's it.
Yep.
Okay. And so again, looking at Deuteronomy chapter 3. Is at that point where it's giving you, again, the Most High has, let Moses, he's empowered Moses to go ahead and give these last words to the people where they're at the finish line. They're at the finish line, and the finish line is the promised land. And he's ready to send the people over and letting the people know that everything that they need, they have in Yahweh, and he's able to take them over into this land and cause them to do all of the things that he would have for them to do.
Yeah.
And so again, when we think about the kind of the overarching concept that we find inside Deuteronomy chapter 3, is giving you this idea of, again, this fulfillment, what the total fulfillment of the new covenant is for us, again, being going into the land of promise.
Yep.
Right, because this is a thing that is future, right? Because I live in Pittsburgh, right? There's people that's over there who could care less about the Most High or Yeshua or the scriptures for that matter, right? And so the Most High has made a promise. He has a purpose, and there's nobody who's able to disannul the thing that he has purposed. And so, thinking along those lines, we want to go over to Jeremiah. Let's look at Jeremiah. I want to look at Jeremiah 32. I want to read through some of this. And so we can continue to think about what it is that the Most High does for his people to fulfill this promise that he's made to bring into effect his final judgment and to bring into effect the means by which his promise is fulfilled in terms of getting his people back to himself and back to the land. All right, so let's look over at, start reading, let's Start reading at verse 1 in Yirmiyahu, chapter 32.
The word that came to Jeremiah from Elohim.
Hold on a sec. Let's get something else here. Let's get this version here. All right, perfect.
The word that came to Yirmiyahu from Yahweh in the 10th year of Siddiq. Oh my gosh.
Siddiqyahu?
Siddiqyahu, sovereign of Yehuda, was the 18th year of Nebuchadnezzar. Now, at the time, the army of the sovereign of Babel besieged Jerusalem, and Yirmiyahu, the prophet, was shut up in the court of the guard, which was in the house of the sovereign of Yehuda. And Siddiqyahu, sovereign of Yehuda, had shut him up, saying, "Why are you prophesying, thus said Yahweh? See, I am giving this city into the hand of the sovereign of Babel, and he shall take it. And Siddiqyahu, sovereign of Yehuda, shall not escape from the hand of Kasdim, but certainly be given into the hand of the sovereign of Babel, and shall speak with him face to face, and see him eye to eye. And he shall lead Siddiqyahu to Babel, and be there until I visit him, declares Yahweh. Though you fight with the Kasdim, you shall not prosper." And Yirmiyahu said, "The word of Yahweh came to me. See, Hanamael, son of Shalom, your uncle, is coming to you, saying, but buy my field, which is in Anathoth, for the right of redemption is yours to buy it." So Hanamael, my uncle's son, came to me in the court of the guard, according to the word of Yahweh, and said to me, "Please buy my field that is in Anathoth, which is the land of Benjamin. For the right of your inheritance is yours, and the redemption. Buy it for yourself." And I knew that this was the word of Yahweh.
Okay, very good. So, the first thing we see over here in these verses, not the first thing. The first thing we see over here is the fact that we have the situation where the lamb is being displaced, right? I'm giving this city into the hand of the sovereign of Babel, right? The land being displaced. But we see further down, we see this this idea of redemption, right? The land buyback, right?
Yeah.
And so when we see this idea again, when we think about redemption, is in fact a very important part to this whole situation, right? But because when we think about the place that we are in terms of a people, we are in a place that's not our own.
Yeah.
There are people in our place that's not their own, right? And so there needs to be a change of ownership. And when we think about a change of ownership, that is what we see as redemption, right? And so this is a very important aspect of the whole return in the first place, right? You can't have the return without redemption, right? It can't be. It's not like you just go and just and take it back, right? The Most High has created these things. He set these things up, and he lives by the things that he causes us to live by the things and ways in which he has created, which exemplify his actual character. And so when we think about the fact that, people own, so-called own these lands, but the actual owner is the Most High.
Yep.
And we see this exemplified when we look at the year of Jubilee, right? Because these things, land and all these things, they change hands. But in the year of Jubilee, everything goes back to the place where the Most High said where it's supposed to be at.
Yep.
Right? And so, in turn, it shows you that we people, we're just stewards of the land that belongs to the Most High. And so, even though we see these changing of hands of the land that is supposed to belong to the people, at the end of the day, understanding that at the end of the day, the Most High is the one who is the owner, and it's going to come a time when the places that the places and people that belong together, the places that the Most High said belong to a particular people, those lands go back to the people, in those times, right? And so we see it. We look at Jeremiah. We see this idea that this individual, he's is said that he has the right to go and buy back this land for himself, because he is the rightful owner of it, right? And so so let's keep on going. Let's keep on going over here. Let's pick back up at verse 9 and read down to 15. Hold on one second. Go ahead.
And I bought the field which was at Anathoth from Hanamel, my uncle's son, and weighed out to him the silver, 17 shekels of silver. And I signed the deed and sealed it, took witnesses, and weighed the silver in the scales. Then I took the deed of the purchase, that which was sealed according to the command and law, and that which was open. And I gave the deed of purchase to Baruch, son of Neriah, son of Maaseiah, in the presence of Hanamel, my uncle's son, and in the presence of the witnesses who signed the deed of purchase, before all the Yehudim who sat in the court of the guard. And I commanded Baruch before their eyes, saying, Thus said Yahweh of hosts, the Elohim of Israel, take these deeds, both this deed of purchase which is sealed, and this deed which is open, and put them in an earthen vessel, so that they remember remain many days. For thus said Yahweh of hosts, the Elohim of Israel, houses and fields and vineyards shall again be bought in this land.
Okay, very good. So, when we look at what's going on, because of the redemption that happened, the fact that the land was bought back and returned back to its rightful owner, because of redemption, now there is hope. Because they have redemption, now there's hope in the land. It says that now, after we got all this stuff here, let's save the proof. Let's put this in these earthen vessels so that they remain, so everybody can see that the thing has been done. It says houses and fields and vineyards shall again be bought in this land. Now these good things are now due in the future, right? That's hope. Hope is a desire of some good, accompanied with at least a slight expectation of obtaining it or a belief that it is obtainable. Okay, so hope differs from a wish and desire in this, that it implies some expectation of obtaining the good desired or the possibility of possessing it. Right? It's not this unforeseeable thing.
Yeah.
And so because of the fact that the land was able to be bought back, now it's able to function in a way that the Most High has called for it to function in. And once that happens, once things are returned back to their right purposes, now in Israel, as it says over there, houses and fields and vineyards shall again be bought in the land. Okay? There is hope. And so the same way that land is perpetually meant to be in a particular family, and if it gets out of the family, there's that year of Jubilee that's supposed to be able to bring the things back. Not only that, but the family is meant to perpetually continue in the land. Right? So there's always supposed to be a place that belongs to particular people. And likewise, there's always supposed to be a particular people that are supposed to be in a particular land. And so there's that time of Jubilee when, all of these things are brought back to the center again. And so when we think about the total fulfillment of what is the Most High wants to do for his people is to restore all things back to the way in which that he had purpose for them to be, which is his people to be in his land.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's go back to Revelation. And look at this. Hold on. Oh wait, this is not the right verse. It's this one here. Okay, read for us verse. Hold on. Read this verse 2. But hold on, let me get this. Let me get the right. Let me get the right version here. Read it from this one here. Wait, hold on. Verse number 2.
It says, "And I, John, saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down from Elohim out of heaven, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband."
Okay, so we see the city, the holy city, New Jerusalem, this city of truth, coming down, New Jerusalem coming down from out of heaven, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. But so the city is adorned for the bride. The city is adorned for the bride. But also, look at this over here. Look at this verse 6 and 7 right there.
"And I heard, as it were the voice of a great multitude, as the voice of many waters, and as the voice of mighty thunderings, saying, Alleluia."
Hallelujah.
Okay, hallelujah. For Yahweh Elohim omnipotent reigneth. Let us be glad and rejoice and give honor to him, for the marriage of the Lamb is come, and his wife hath made herself ready.
And 8. Verse 8 too.
Oh, 8? Okay. And to her was granted that she should be arrayed in fine linen, clean and white. For the fine linen is the righteousness of saints.
Okay, very good. So, when we see this end of all the things, we got Jerusalem, the city of truth, coming down from the heavens, coming down adorned as the bride. And we also got the people that is ready, that is adorned for the bride. So at the end of all things, we see the family, we see Israel being restored, and we see the restoration of the land being restored, both the land and the people. The land and the people being restored. Just like when we look over in Jeremiah, where it's talking about the land coming back to where it's supposed to be, and the people who's supposed to have it, having it once again. All things being restored back to the way that the Most High has purposed for them to be, right? This redemption, this restoration of all things. Okay, so let's go back to pick back up at verse 16 and read down through 18.
And after I have given the deed of purchase to Baruch son of Neriah, I prayed to Yahweh, saying, Ah, Master Yahweh, see, you have made the heavens and the earth by your great power and outstretched arm. There is no matter too hard for you. Who show loving commitment to thousands and repay the crookedness of the fathers into the bosom of their children after them. The great mighty El, Yahweh of hosts, is his name.
Okay, very good. So again, we see, again, as a result of this redemption, this restoration thing that has happened, we are able to see, well, here the prophet's able to see, and we're able to see, as far as the words of the prophet, that these wonderful wonders, these things that seemed impossible, the fact that this place was taken by these other people and inhabited by these other people, and now the Most High made a way for his people to once again reclaim the place that was promised to the Most High. And the way in which it is done is through the Ruach HaKodesh, right? He begins to talk about the character, the attributes of the Most High in verse 18, who show loving commitments to the thousands, who repays the crookedness of the fathers into the bosom of the children, right? Great and mighty Elohim of Yahweh of hosts, Yahweh Tsabaot, again, is his name, right? It's giving you the character of the Most High and his characteristics, which allow for his divine purpose to be manifest. Okay. 19 through 22.
Great in counsel and mighty in work, for your eyes are open to all the ways of the sons of men, to give everyone according to his ways and according to the fruit of his deeds. For you have set signs and wonders in the land of Mitzrayim to this day, and in Israel and among other men. And you have made yourself a name, as it is this day. And you have brought your people Israel out of the land of Mitzrayim with signs and wonders, with a strong hand and with an outstretched arm, and with great fearsome deeds. And you gave them this land, of which you swore to them, to their fathers, to give them a land flowing with milk and honey.
Okay, very good. So even here, when we look over here, if the Most High is giving the land to a people, he's taking it away also from another people. Okay, so there's judgment there. Right? There's judgment. If he's taking, if he has to take it away from one group in order to give it to another. So we see here judgment. The people who aren't there have to get there. And so we see this exodus that has to take place. Israel got to come from wherever we are to go over to where we're going, right? To get back to the land that was bought, paid for. We have to go from one place to the other. So we see this exodus that has happened, this movement of the people that has to happen. And again, we're able to understand that this is a possibility because of understanding the power and might of the Most High. Just like always, right? He does these things before his people, before the eyes of his people, so that we're able to see, oh, he did this little bit, this portion. I don't want to say little bit. He's done this portion of what he said he's going to do. So therefore, we understand that he's capable and able to do the whole of the thing that he said he was going to do, because we're able to understand him doing this portion of the thing. And so, when we think about this in terms of, what is the portion? What's the portion that we're seeing in these times, right? What is the portion of his great works and wonders that we're able to see in these times? We're able to understand that the Most High, through Yeshua HaMashiach, has made it possible for us to be able to be reconnected back to the Father through his Ruach HaKodesh. The thing that he talks about doing in terms of taking away our stony heart and replacing it with a heart of flesh, and connecting us back to the Father from a spiritual standpoint, and allowing us to be able to hear his words and to be able to understand the things that he's already said, and that we're able to hear what it is that he wants for us to do moving forward, right? Being reconnected, being taken from a state of death and being dead to being alive in Messiah, right? These are miraculous things. When we think about the fact that, those that come to Yeshua, the transformation that he makes to happen inside of his people, where we in fact were excellent sinners, literal workers of iniquity, and where he's able to take these wretched people and turn our lives around and cause us to walk in his ways. These are miraculous things. And so when we see the deeds of the Almighty and understand the fullness of what He's able to do in the lives of His people, it helps for us to understand the greater thing, the thing that He's actually working towards, which is the restoration, the total restoration of His people, and the restoration of the people in His land that He's promised to us. Okay, let's keep on going over here. Let's look at some more of this. Start reading again, verse 23.
Okay.
Just read down to 25.
Okay. It says, and they came in and possessed it, but they did not obey your voice, nor did they walk in your Torah. They did not do all that you commanded them to do. So you brought all this evil upon them. See, the siege mounds. They have come to the city to take it, and the city has been given into the hand of the Kasdim who fight against it, because of the sword and the scarcity of food, and the pestilence, and what you have spoken out has, and what you have spoken has come about. And look, you see it. Yet you, O Master Yahweh, have said to me, buy the field for silver and take witnesses, although the city has been given into the hand of the Kasdim.
Okay, very good. So when we look over here again, what's going on is, first of all, the prophet is giving us prophecy, right, of what is to be done. And then so as the prophet is receiving the prophecy, he's looking around and understanding that, these people are taking over the place, right? Because of the fact that you have Israel being this rebellious people that we actually are. However, it says in verse 25, yet you, O Master, have said to me, buy the field with silver and take witnesses. Even though all these things are going on, in fact, they're going on, it's not mistakenly, right? The Most High said what was going to happen. Even though these things are going on, buy the field with silver, take witnesses, do all the things that I said for you to go ahead and do, so that this plan that the Most High has implemented can begin to happen, right? Basically, do the thing that is spoken of in the above verses, right? In terms of initiating this redemptive process. Okay, but again, this is just a picture of our true Redeemer, who is Yeshua. Okay, so we have these things going on in the physical, which point us towards what it is Yeshua is doing from a spiritual perspective in terms of redeeming our very souls. Okay, but again, when we think about what's going on with these people, again, Israel being this rebellious people, we aren't seeing here how the people have changed. Right? At this point, with Jeremiah over here, you have these various takeovers because of the fact that the people are going outside of the will of the Most High. Mm-hmm. And so what good does it do for a wicked people? And I'm saying wicked just because of the fact that they're disobedient people, without the transformation, right? Without the transformation, there can't be a true redemption, and there can't be a restoration, right? Without the transformation, right? And so the way that we see this realized, of course, is what it is that we see through Yeshua, what is that Yeshua does for us. Okay, so pick back up here in verse 26.
Then the word of Yahweh came to Yirmiyahu, saying, See, I am Yahweh, the Elohim of all flesh. Is there any matter too hard for me? Therefore, thus said Yahweh, See, I am giving this city into the hand of Kasdim, into the hand of Nebuchadnezzar.
You just let him take it. Let him go ahead and take it. You're giving it over to him. Go ahead.
Sovereign of Babel, and he shall take it. And the Kasdim who fight against the city shall come and set fire to the city and burn it
up. Mm-hmm.
With the houses on whose roofs they burned in incense to Baal, and poured out drink offerings to other mighty ones to provoke me. For the children of Israel and the children of Yehuda have done only evil before me from their youth. For the children of Israel have only provoked me with the work of their hands, declares Yahweh. For this city has been a cause for my displeasure and my wrath from the day that they built it, even to this day that I should remove it from before my face. Because of all the evil of the children of Israel and the children of Yehuda, which they have done to provoke me, their sovereigns, their heads, their priests, their prophets, and the men of Yehuda and the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and they have turned their back to me, and not to their face. Although I taught them, rising up early and teaching them, they did not listen to receive instruction. Okay,
so this here is very important over here, because we see it's interesting that these people was taught. They was taught, but they did not learn. 30 verse 33, and they have turned their back to me and not their face. Right? They did not put their face to me, they put their back to me. Though I taught them, rising up early and teaching them, they did not listen to receive the instructions. They was taught the ways of the Most High, but they didn't learn the ways of the Most High. So it became necessary for something else to happen. The thing that they was doing ain't working. And so the place got to be redeemed back to the rightful people. But the rightful people got to be transformed too, though. You got to have this transfer of power thing got to happen. But the people need a transfer of power inside of them, their own selves. Because the ways in which these things is going on, the ways of old ain't cutting it. Right? Read 34 and 35.
It says, and they set their abominations in the house which is called by my name to defile it. And they built the high places of Baal, which are in the valley of the son of Hinnom, to offer up their sons and their daughters to Molech, which I did not command them, nor did it come into my heart that they should do this abomination to make Yehuda sin.
So these people is literally crazy, and so those people supposed to be restored back to the land. Those ones. That's sitting up there causing their sons and their daughters to be offered up to Molech. Right? When we think about Yeshua talking about the whole thing with the wine and the wineskins, right? Mm-hmm. You can't put new wine. You're not gonna put new wine in old wineskins because the wineskins have already been stretched out to capacity already. And so if you put the new wine in the old wineskins, the wineskins is going to burst because they've already reached their capacity of stretching. They can't stretch any further. There has to be a new wineskin for the new wine to go into. And so when we think about the idea of the people being restored back to the land, even looking back to Deuteronomy, you got a new generation, but time helps us to understand that new generation truly wasn't no better than the former generation, because they was never changed from the inside. Right? There wasn't no change. So they end up to getting out to this place over here in Jeremiah, where these people are doing all the things that these other nations do.
Yeah.
Worshiping unto Baal and to Molech. And the Molech worship is the worst kind of worship, because it teaches this end to the family. Like, part of their worship is ending family lines. You take your children and you sacrifice your children.
Mm.
And these are the things that I'm trying to actually figure out what it takes to bring people to offer their children up to gods and literally kill their children.
There's cults that people was giving their kids to grown men and stuff.
I mean, I think that's one part of it. Like that's like the beginning stages of it, when you have these people who would give their young daughters, say, or even boys at this point, to these leaders, right? That's the first step. But then beyond that, we talk about literally killing them, though. So it's like a step further, even. As a word, I mean, you can't get to the second part without the first part. You got to have in your mind that there's nothing's more valuable than this whoever. And not even my children, not even the thing that the Most High has blessed me with, I'm going to sacrifice those things. Like, I can't really think of, what has to go on in somebody's mind for that to happen. But these people was doing it, and that's why the Most High taking this land away. But even still, in spite of all of this, the Most High does indeed have a purpose. And nobody's able to cause for his purpose. He's not going to go back on his purpose and his plan, right? And so he still has to make a way so that this can be remedied, right? He has to. And there's this other problem, like in verse 33, that has to be remedied, that the fact that these people, it's not like these people wasn't being taught, because they was being taught. Verse 33 said they taught them. I taught them. Teaching again and again. Mm. They would not listen and receive instruction. Right? And so that got to be rectified too. Because he can't even just say, this is the way that I want for you to be.
Yeah.
Because the people don't listen, they turn their face to him. They do the unspeakable and sacrifice their children and their heritage, selling their birthright. Right? You sold your birthright when you sacrificed your child.
Yeah.
You did the thing. You do the thing that the Most High hates whenever you sacrifice your child. Your birthright, right? Your inheritance, your heritage is, in fact, your children. And so when you sacrifice your children, you're squandering your inheritance, you're squandering your heritage.
Yeah.
You're behaving in a way that Esau behaved, which in the Most High, he says, Jacob I love, Esau I hated.
Yeah.
Why did he hate Esau? Because Esau was the one who would give away his heritage. And then these people over here, they do the exact same thing. Okay, but read for us now 36 through 40.
And now, thus said Yahweh, the Elohim of Israel, concerning this city of which you say, it shall be given into the hand of the sovereign of Babel by the sword, and by scarcity of food, and by pestilence.
Yeah, it's going to happen. The people going to get it. It's going to happen because these people, the Israel's wicked. They can't be in the lands. There's bad stuff going to happen. Keep going.
See, I am gathering them out of all the lands where I have driven them in my displeasure, and in my wrath, and in great rage. And I shall bring them back to this place, and shall let them dwell in safety.
Mm-hmm.
And they shall be my people, and I shall be their Elohim.
Yeah, that's very good.
And I shall give them one heart and one way, to fear me all the days, for the good of them and of their children after them.
Mm-hmm.
And I shall make an everlasting covenant with them, that I do not turn back from doing good to them, and I shall put my fear in their hearts, so as not to turn aside from me.
Okay, so, if we look at this, the Most High, he's made some everlasting covenants with people in the past.
Mm-hmm.
Because right here, he said, I'm going to make an everlasting covenant with these people to the place where that I do not turn my back from doing good to them. He said that right after he just got finished saying in 36 that the other people going to take it. It shall be given into the hand of the kings of Babel by sword and pestilence. They're going to get it.
Yeah.
However, in spite of that, he's gathering in all the people that he scattered all over the place and bringing them back to himself. And he's forming this everlasting covenant. He's about to do this thing for the people. But again, like I said, he's done these Barit Olams with people before, these everlasting covenants before. But this one is one where he rectifies these issues. He rectifies these issues that cause the people to keep on going astray.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because before, like we said before, back in 33, he taught the people over and over again. But over here, if we look down here in verse 39, he said, I shall give them one heart and one way to fear me all the days for the good of them and of their children after them. Now he's getting into this other part, this transformation part. Right? He getting into this part over here. Because before, all he did was he just was teaching them the laws, but they wasn't learning it. Here, do this and go over here. Mm-hmm. And then the people that transgress and wasn't able to go into the land, their children did the same thing. Right? These are the ancestors of the children over here. But at the end of the day, they the ancestors of the fathers. Because they behaved in the same way, because it's helping us to understand that we need to be changed from the inside out. The only way that we become one people is if we have one way.
Uh-huh.
We already looked at the verse. Yeshua is the way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeshua is the way. He said, I will give them one heart and one way.
Mm-hmm.
What's the one way? Yeshua, what was that verse? What was that? John, it wasn't 16. Hold on. We looked at a lot of verses here today. That was hold on, was it John chapter 7? No, what is that? That was John chapter 4. That was John chapter, was it 4? 13. We know what the verse says anyway. No, it was John 8. I don't know what verse it was. It was 8 and 32. One of these I'm going to get it. One of these days I'm going to get it right. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Yeshua said that I am the way, the truth, and the life. He really did say that, and we really did look at it. But I'm saying that when we think about the idea of the Most High giving us one heart, we talk about his heart, spiritual heart transplant that he gives to us in Ezekiel Chapter 36. So he talks about this one heart that he's given to his people, and there's one way. And Yeshua said that he is the way.
Mm-hmm.
And so, we putting these things together. Yeshua is this way that he has provided for his people to be able to go over into the land in a new way that has never been before. Because all of the other times, he said that he taught us over and over again. But he has to deal with us in a way that he's never dealt with us before, or else we're going to receive the same results that we've always received every single time. Okay, very good, Toast. John 14:6 is what it is. Okay, so again, this is why, when we think about this idea of the new covenant, that I literally like the idea of new, because it is new. It is a new thing, right? Because he's made these other covenants, and these other covenants that have been made. First of all, look at this. Look at this. Hold on. Verse 40, this everlasting. Olam is an interesting word, because it's always translated as everlasting. But it really means concealed. It really means the vanishing point.
You can't see anything else.
Or you don't know when it ends. Maybe there is an end, but I can't see it.
Foreseeable future.
right? It's time out of mind, right? It's translated as eternity or everlasting. But when we think about it, it's just this, it's time unknown. It's into the future where we can't see what's over there, where there very well could be an end, but we don't know what the end is, per se. For instance, look at one of these everlasting covenants that the Most High has created. If we go to Leviticus 24, read verse 8. Hold on, read verse. Read 5 through 8.
And you shall take fine flour and bake 12 cakes, with it 2/10 of an ephah in each cake. And you shall set them in 2 rows, 6 in a row, on the clean table before Yahweh. And you shall put clear frankincense on each row, and it shall be on the bread as a remembrance portion, an offering made by fire to Yahweh. On every Sabbath he is to arrange it before Yahweh continually from the children of Israel, an everlasting covenant.
Okay, very good. This table of showbread spreading thing is an everlasting covenant. This taking the showbread and putting it out and having these 6 rows and putting them 6 in a row and 2 rows and all this stuff is an everlasting covenant.
Yeah.
There was an unforeseeable this thing was set up for an unforeseeable time. But if there's no tabernacle, if there's no table of showbread, if they don't got the things, how they supposed to lay the thing out? They don't got the priest, they don't got the tabernacle, they don't got the table.
Yeah.
They don't got none of these things. And so the idea of Olam is this unforeseen future where it might be an end, but maybe there isn't. Maybe there is and maybe there isn't. But you can't know what the end of it actually is. The Mosaic covenant is an everlasting covenant. The Mosaic covenant is an everlasting covenant. Jeremiah 31:31 tells us that there's a covenant that got broke. But it was everlasting. But look at this. Look at what do Isaiah 24? What's Isaiah 24:5 say?
24:5 says, "For the earth has been defiled under its inhabitants, because they have transgressed the Torah, changed the law, broken the everlasting covenant."
Right, the earth, the Torah, right, the law of Moses.
Torah.
Yeah, the laws of Moses that was broken. That's an everlasting covenant. The salt covenant is an everlasting covenant.
Yeah.
The salt covenant that you supposed to put salt with all of your sacrifices thing in Numbers 18 and 19. Right? These are all everlasting covenants. Right? These all are Berit Olam. Right? But they're all everlasting covenants. But he's bringing about the situation that in some scriptures is called a new covenant, a Kadash covenant, which is always translated as new. It's used 54 times in the Bible. Wow. It's used 54 times in the Bible. 53 of those times is new. It's only used as new, and one time it's used as fresh. It's used as fresh in Job 29. Job 29 and 20. 29 verse 20.
my esteem fresh within me, and my bow renewed in my hand.
Okay, this right here is Kadash. My glory, in the King James, it would say, my glory was fresh within me, and my bow was renewed, which is another word, kalaf, in my hand. And so we look at this, it helps us to understand that it became necessary for the Most High to do something more than what he was already doing. Because he taught the people. He taught us, but we never learned. That's what he said. He taught us, but we never learned. And so it became necessary for him to deal with us in a new and exciting way, which brought about transformation on the inside of us so that our redemption can bring about a total restoration of all things. So that the land, not only the land could be restored, but so that the people too could also be restored. Right? Bringing us into the possession of our land in the only way that will actually keep us there, which is putting the Ruach HaKodesh on the inside of us, which causes us to be able to walk out the ways of the Most High. We wasn't able to maintain what he did for us in the past. So therefore he put us in the land, and then he had to kick us out the land. And then he get to the place where we are in these days and times, where he's made his people, the children of Israel, totally destroyed us and caused us to be in the situation where we're totally unrecognizable and don't even look like or resemble in any way his people Israel. Where we had to be totally renewed and restored back to our former self. Right? But now we have Yeshua, who's able to bring us into this new situation. And, you know, this is the plan from the beginning. This is the way in which he wanted for us to be even from the very beginning. The restoration of the people of the Most High only happens as a result of what it is that Yeshua does for us.
Yeah.
And then so if we just go back over to Jeremiah just to finish off the chapter over here, and read from 41 to the end. Let me get back over there.
And I shall rejoice over them to do good to them, and shall plant them in this land in truth with all my heart, with all my being.
Hold on, let's just stop right there, because if we think about the Most High and the fact that he wants for us to love him with all our heart and all our soul.
Mm-hmm.
But what happens when he do something with all his heart and all his soul?
It's the greatest.
That thing is done.
Yeah.
It's a done deal.
Right.
He said, with all my heart and with all my soul, I'm going to plant you in this land of truth.
Mm-hmm.
This land of Emet that got water and blood in the middle, which is Yeshua. That's powerful right there, that verse 41 right there.
Yeah.
He said, I'm going to use all of my heart and all of my soul to plant you. Not even put you in the land, but plant you there.
Yeah.
Hold on, what is he saying?
It's rooted.
That thing got roots on it. To strike, to fix, to plant. Like, I could just put something somewhere, but I could just be like,
Right.
I could stab that thing in there. Like I could take a little, like a pitchfork, and like drop it in the ground,
Right.
and it might stick. but then somebody come along and they hit it and the thing gonna fall over.
Exactly.
But if I fix that thing in the ground, if I strike it there, but that's what he's doing with us in this land of truth with his whole heart and with his whole being, it says. Okay, keep on going.
For thus saith Yahweh, as I have brought all this great evil on this people, so I am bringing on them all the good that I am speaking to them.
Hold on a second. If we really think about, if we sit back and think about all of the evil that the Most High brought on his people Israel, to the place where we don't even know who we are anymore. We have no identity lost.
Right.
Because of the evil that he allowed to happen to us. It's like to the utmost.
Yeah.
But now he talking about, think about that, and then now think about the reverse of that.
Exactly.
You could think about all this bad stuff that I allowed to happen to you, that I brought on you. I'm softening it by saying that I allowed to happen to you. He literally said, as I have brought all this great evil on this people, so am I bringing on them all the good that I am speaking to them. The same way that he destroyed us is the same way that he's going to build us up into something that's brand new. Okay, keep on going.
It says, and fields shall be bought in this land, of which you are saying, it is a wasteland without man or beast. It has been given into the hand of Kasdim. Fields shall be bought for silver, and deeds signed and sealed, and witnesses be called in the land of Benjamin, and in the places around Jerusalem, and in the cities of Yehuda, and the cities of the mountains, and in the cities of the low country, and the cities of the south. For I shall turn back their captivity, declares Yahweh. Okay,
very good. So we see at the end of all this, we begin with this idea of these people coming and taking over the land. Basically, the Most High giving over the land to these people because of the actions and deeds of his people, but bringing us back to a place, and not only bringing us there like he's brought us there before, but planting us there and causing the people to be restored and the land to be restored as new, all because of what it is that Yeshua has done for us, where he provides this redemption for his people that is above anything that has ever been done. Right? When we talk about this idea of buying this field with silver, right? He's talking about this physical act of buying this land. But we know that the silver that we need to redeem us back to our rightful place is that silver that was paid to Judas the Iscariot, right? That put into action the death of Yeshua, right? We look to the thing that Yeshua has done to fulfill all of these things and to cause us to be returned back to the land, and for the land to be restored back to a place to even receive us as his people.
Yep.
And back to a place where the fields are growing and the vineyards are alive, and the people are the old people walking around and the young people walking around, and there's joy and things, right? All because of what Yeshua is able to do for us. So again, we look at what we see over in Deuteronomy. It just points us in that direction, right? It helps us to look that to see that the Most High wants His people in this promised land. But at the end of the day, He wants for us to be planted in that place, and the way that we're planted in that place is through the Ruach HaKodesh in our hearts that changes us and causes us to walk in His will and in His ways, and to do all those things that He would have for us to do. All right, so that being said, do we have any last questions, comments over here? All right, so that being said, that will be all for now. We'll go ahead and shut this down. We want to remind everyone to, if you're not subscribed, subscribe to the channel. Share the video. Hit the thumbs up button. I should have at least 12 likes on this video from all the people that was in here. Share it. Hit the bell notification button so that you can receive a notification every time we put a new video out. And y'all willing, we will be back on next Shabbat to do this all over again. All right. So that being said, we'll say Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.